Have you ever wondered what would happen if a Viking warrior ended up in 90s Kentucky to fight off a zombie apocalypse? Regardless, today I'm going to be answering that question. Meet Bjorn Longsword, a Viking blacksmith who's joined Leif Erikson's expedition to the Americas. But unfortunately, he strayed from camp one day, touched the magic runestone, and fell into the future. So with our highly probable backstory out of the way, let's dive into the game. We're playing on Apocalypse mode and we're spawning in at this special forest spawn from a mod I've downloaded. Some Viking scouts who decided to explore further south of the country had in the past moored their longships here and camped for the night. The plan for our character is to continue making our way along the riverbank towards the nearest settlement, which is West Point, then establishing a base by building a longhouse on the city's outskirts. For our build, we've taken a literate as he wouldn't be able to read English. Then I've gone for some negative traits to give us some more points: high thirst, overweight, slow healer, hearty appetite, unlucky, weak stomach, clumsy, and Sunday driver. Unlikely he's going to be driving around cars. He's also quite a big guy, so he's going to need a lot of resources to sustain himself. For our positive skills, we've taken Smither and Forgeman because he's a blacksmith. This gives us smithing and metalwork bonuses, as well as access to some unique recipes. Then I'm going for Woodcutter and Angler, who would likely have had knowledge of fishing and woodcutting. And then finally Berserker, because this guy's a ferocious Berserker warrior, giving us bonuses to strength, fitness, and various weapon skills. We've spawned in with some items that we would expect a Viking to carry. A simple knife for hunting and crafting, a comb for grooming their luscious locks. This Viking also had a bit of money because he has a sword indicating high status, as well as a trusty axe. So firstly we're going to go and forage for some food and materials, and then set up camp for the night. We find some berries, unsure whether they're safe to eat. We'll test that out later. Find some chipped stone, which will let us create a stone hammer. This will let us create various other useful implements. We begin to gather firewood for the campfire. The noise from cutting down the tree appears to attract a Draugr from the Old Norse legends. With a swift strike of our sword, we cut him down. It's clear we have arrived in cursed lands. We forage a little bit more, and then we set up the campfire and our tent. We saw some planks from our logs, and then we use one of them to create a fireboard, letting us start a fire for the evening. We craft some bowls out of the wood we've gathered. We fill them from water from the river, and then boil it to make sure that it's safe to drink. We then go ahead and use one of our tree branches to forge a spear, letting us spearfish in the nearby river, which is one of the various techniques that you would find Vikings using. We cook up our fine catch, and we organise some of our foraged food items, which we'll eat a little bit before going to bed, to test out whether it will kill us or not. On day 2, we continue to forage, gathering supplies to make a makeshift saw. Now you might have noticed we are using a wristwatch. A Viking would have actually used the position of the sun in order to inform him of the time. It's just assumed for this one that Bjorn was smart enough to figure it out. On day 3, we head north up the riverbank and look for a second area to set up our camp. We encounter a few more Draugr, and with a few swift slashes of our sword, take them out. On day 4, we head out to the spot that we found yesterday, through the fog, fighting off the undead. We set up camp once again, but we're starting to get hungry and depressed. Start fishing, but we're ambushed. A very close shave. However, we managed to secure a sizable catch. Satiated and well rested, it's time to make our way to the nearby settlement, where we will look to trade or raid for supplies. Making our way towards town, we reach the bridge of metal beasts, like dank sea monsters couched and waiting. As we approach the clearing outside the town, we encounter more and more undead, our high fighting prowess allowing us to dispatch large groups of them. We clear out the surrounding area to make sure it's safe to make camp, and then we try and get a good night's sleep before our foray into town the next day. In the morning, we fill our belly with some mushrooms that we now know are safe to eat, and then we turn towards the town to look for settlers and supplies. Now needing to fight our way through much larger hordes, with determination we push through to a large building containing various strange food items. We grab what we can, then head back to base to do a quick tasting session. These unusual foods, as well as some alcohol we found, have helped to alleviate our character's depression. Aware we're going to now have to battle hordes of the undead, we need to make sure that we're well equipped. Our starting sword isn't going to last forever, so we look to try and get the materials we need to build a forge. Firstly, we need to gather stone, so torch in hand we head out in the morning fog to look for some. We then make sure to make use of the surrounding forest to start building our longhouse, as well as making use of the strange clothing items that we find on the undead. From days 8 to 13, spend the time just building up the longhouse, gathering more materials and fighting off any stragglers to gain more ripped sheets, as well as foraging and fishing, the river providing a plentiful supply of fish. We also found some carrot seeds on one of our outings, so we've planted a few of those as well. Over the next couple of days, we continue to look for stones. We need 15 of them, so we get a little help from, let's call him Odin, and then we now have enough stones to make the furnace that's implemented by the blacksmithing mod. Now in order to fuel the furnace we need some charcoal, and to get charcoal we need the metal drum. In order to get the metal drum we need to venture into the town to one of the warehouses. Not only that, we'll need to find some bellows so that we can boost up the heat. We head south with our axe, avoiding as many undead as we can in the process. Use our axe to smash down the door into the factory. Once we make our way inside we make sure to clear out any of the undead, and then grab the metal drum, as well as any metal that we're able to fit into our inventory. Being a little bit greedy with the number of items, it makes the walk back to camp a little slow, and we do have a bit of a dangerous encounter with the undead, although our injuries are small and it's nothing we can't handle. Over the next couple of days we work the forge, turning any scrap metal we've found into useful workable iron. We also make another trip to the warehouse to pick up anything that we couldn't fit the last time and make sure to bring a bag this time. This gives us a copious amount of workable iron, but the problem is we need our final piece of the puzzle, the anvil. And in order to make an anvil we need a hammer, and a stone hammer won't do, so we need to go out and hunt for one. So we fight our way to the west side of town and try out some of the nearby houses. Nothing could be found here, so we make our way to the hardware store. Funnily enough, the hardware store also has no hammers, but we are able to pick up some farming equipment in the meantime. We continue to slice through the horde until we get to the richer part of town and look in their garages. After a couple of break-ins, we're able to find the mighty Mjolnir. Fighting our way back to camp, we're finally able to construct the anvil. But we have another problem we've encountered. We've only got a smithing skill of 3, and for all the medieval weapons, the mod requires a skill of 8, which could take decades to reach. So what we're going to do is look to the skies and pray to the mighty Thor. Ah, there we go. A smithing skill of 8. It's going to take the decision to feudalise, putting us into the medieval era, and giving us the ability to produce medieval plate armour. With our master blacksmithing skills, we produce a mighty greatsword, which will be the bane of the undead. And to offer us much more protection, we craft ourselves a stellar brigandine, which strangely offers us no neck protection. We've also been able to upgrade our spear. In this new order, we act as king, knight and serf, and make use of the farming equipment we got earlier. The next day we head out to what looks like an armory. Within it are some strange items, but we are able to pick up a bow, which unfortunately hasn't ever been our character's strong point, preferring to get up close and personal. The next day we head out to one of the local inns, in order to grind up our carpentry skill, which will let us add some finishing touches to our longhouse. We fence off our farming area and add a path, all while fending off some unexpected attackers. We sort out from our walls, make sure to clear the area, so as to prevent our foes from growing in number. With our base now firmly established, as well as 2 food sources available, are we going to be able to last into the winter? And will the gods continue to watch over us in this forsaken land? I hope you enjoyed this video of this very unique Project Zomboid playthrough. If you liked the video, please like it. And if you want to see more unique playthroughs for Project Zomboid and many other games, subscribe to the channel, consider joining the Discord in the link below. And thanks very much guys, see you in the next one.